Hi everyone! In today's episode, we will be giving a closer look at some of the new and modified spells from the 2024 Player's Handbook.
Magic is actually what defines fantasy in a way. Breaking the laws of physics, making it something very, very different to our world. Solving economic crisis with a flick of fingers, for instance. I mean, that's why I like spells. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Eugene, and welcome to another episode of
The Middle-Aged Barbarians.
Here on Middle-Aged Barbarians, we like to cover a wide range of topics, from tips and tricks on how to run your games, class and monster analysis, media and adventure reviews, and news updates. So whether you're new to the RPG scene or a seasoned player, an aspiring DM in the making, or a jaded veteran like us,
Stick around and watch this pair of guys be barbaric and tear your boredom to shreds. What's up, dude?
All right. So, you've always played wizards, sorcerers, something arcane.
Yes, of course.
That's your forte.
Yeah,
All
of
right.
course.
So, and just to be clear, transparent, you have not actually read any of the new spells or any of the changes in the new book.
No, I just kind of skimmed it and it saw that it kind of felt like most of it was the same. So
Like, ooh, pretty art, and then just keep going.
yeah. Oh, I didn't know that Bigby was a gnome. For instance.
Ooh.
Yeah. Or that Edvard was so goth looking, which makes sense. I mean, the black tentacles. I actually was expecting him to be Asian. I don't know why.
I don't know. All right, so I have a little game. We
Sure,
can
let's do
play,
this.
and we can learn and entertain at the same time. There are 12 new spells in the 2024 Player's Handbook. I have a list here of those 12 spells, and I will tell you the name, and then you can guess, and you can say, "Oh, I think that belongs to this class, and it does this."
Okay, sure, let's do that.
Easy? All right. The first one, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order because that's the way I wrote it down. The first spell I present to you, my friend Eddie, is Arcane Vigor.
Oh, that seems like False Life again. False Life gave you, depending on your level, a few temporary hit points that I don't know if you remember. This edition they work a little bit different, and it should be arcane because False Life was arcane. Maybe I remember it more being a bard spell, but wizards could also learn it.
All right, you're kind of close. It's a level 2 sorcerer wizard spell. And the way I read it, it's basically an arcane self-healing spell, kind of like a second wind.
Yeah. That's the same thing with False Life. You couldn't cast it on your rest of your party. It was only self.
All right. Editor, put a point here. He got one point for Eddie. If he gets, I don't know how many points you want. If he gets 7 points, then
The producer give me a raise.
ooh, fancy. The producer said no. The second spell I have for you, Eddie, is called Befuddlement.
I mean, that sounds kind of also arcane. No, it seems like all the classes, and it probably causes confusion. Like, I don't know if we have the status confusion like used to be. I'm thinking of video games, but something similar to what video games confusion causes. You throw a die, and your actions change.
From the 12 spells that I have here, this is what I think is probably like the most
New?
hardcore, nasty spell in the list. It is a level 8 spell.
Oh my god! I thought it was like 4 or something.
No,
like
this is a heavy hitter. It does heavy psychic damage. I think it was like 8 or something like that. Like a lot of damage.
And psychic is hard to resist. Yeah.
And the target cannot cast spells or use magic actions for the next 30 days.
That's friggin' insane.
A whole month. No magic for you, my friend.
And since we don't have the weapon proficiencies from race, you can only use a stick to defend yourself.
Were you a dwarven wizard? Yes. Then you have 30 days and you can do it again. I mean, there are ways of getting rid of this
Of
earlier.
course,
I
you could
think the
probably
spell
dispel it.
mentioned- Yeah, like a greater restoration or something, by the way. But
It's a pain.
that still sounds kind of nasty. Third spell. I don't know how to say this. Draw me instant summons.
Dromix usually is an arcane caster in the lore, so
Okay.
this should be arcane. It should be sorcerer wizard.
Yes.
And Dromix spells were usually about making things small or making them big. So what was the name again? Instant summons?
Drawmish instant summons.
So it probably would mean that you pre-summon some sort of monster and then you toss it out as a bonus action or something like that.
No, I was close though. You put a brand on an item and on I think it was a sapphire or some kind of gem, and then whenever you want, you can use that gem and crush it and summon the item into your hand.
Oh, items, not
It's an item. It's not a creature. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes,
there's another use which I think is kind of cool because it said that if somebody else is holding the item, you know who has it.
and you can
And you can like kind of like trace it, like what are those AirPods or what are those things called for the iPhones?
AirPods.
It's like a
AirTags.
AirTags. It's draw me instant AirTag summon spell.
Seems pretty cool. I mean, and can the person crush it and get the item as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
If I have
The gem.
the gem, I can crush it and then summon the item in my hand.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
if I have to take something really, really valuable, very, very far away, I could just leave it somewhere safe, and when I get there, boom,
Or for instance, your staff of the Archmagi, you just
you can
crush.
sell it and then just take it back.
I mean, that's unethical, and we're heroes.
Well, you maybe. Fourth spell, elementalism.
Oh, I'm guessing this is. I mean, I'm also thinking about school, so that's probably a transmutation or a conjuration, and it changes the sort of damage an energy damage based spell does.
You'd think, but no. This is a druid cantrip. Oh. Well, no, it's not a druid cantrip. It's I forget exactly what class. I didn't write that down. I wrote. You want to know exactly what I wrote down? I wrote bland cantrip for RP. This is basically another form of prestidigitation, the druidic magic cantrip that lets you blow a breeze, light a fire.
Oh, that's cool.
It gives. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same BS.
It's not BS. Prestidigitation is one of the best spells in the game because it's really flexible. It's what magic should be. Like, oh, I want to do really clever things. I mean, that's.
Well, then you would love elementalism.
Yeah. Probably, I will probably take a background that would give let me have both of them.
Yes, do the same thing twice.
Yes, of course. But druidic wise and.
But it's not druid. Can you look up, Mr. Producer, sir? Can you please look up? I mean, we have the book right here, but just. All right, I'll look it up. Meanwhile, I will ask you the next one called Font of Moonlight.
Font of Moonlight. That probably does damage to outsiders and bad things.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Sorry. Elementalism is a cantrip for druids, sorcerers, or wizards.
Oh, there we go. So I can, even as a wizard, I could have both of them.
You could. Font of Moonlight.
I'm thinking about the song Moonlight Shadow. Really good song by the guy that made Tubular Bells. I forgot his name. Mike Oldfield.
I heard Chocolate Rain for a second. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Tubular Bells, the theme from The Exorcist.
Okay, right.
I mean, Edgar. You could put a little clip that won't demonetize us of Moonlight Shadow, if you please.
We'll wait. We'll give you a second. If not, just cut this out. And anyway, yes, Font of Moonlight is a level 4 bard and druid spell. You emit light, bright light in 20 feet, and then 20 feet dim after that. And it's very interesting because it gives you resistance to radiant damage. Your melee attacks add radiant damage. And if you are hit while you have this emanation or aura present, you can use a reaction and make the enemy take a constitution save. And if they fail, they'll be blinded for a turn.
So you become like a Twilight vampire.
Maybe.
So canonically, basically, Edward Cullen could be built as a bard.
Next spell. Jallarzi.
Oh, those wizards' names are great.
Halarzi's Storm of Radiance.
Okay, this should be something like a blast of radiant damage.
Yeah, it's a level 5 Warlock Wizard spell, and it is a column of radiant damage that
column. Yeah, that's
blinds and deafens the enemies within.
doesn't deal damage. Just it causes the status blind or.
Oh, I didn't write down if it did damage. It probably does.
It probably does at 5th level. It should. Yeah.
It should. Probably not a lot, but it should do. I'll look it up while I look up for the next one, which I think you're going to appreciate. Remember power word spells?
Of course, power will kill, deafen, stun, and blind.
Well, we got one called Power Word Fortify.
I mean, this doesn't sound offensive at all. So it probably gives you something like advantage to saving throws or something like that, or allows you to take another thing. The thing with the power word spells is that it only has a component verbal. That's the main thing. So it should be just verbal, and it should be a little bit of a lower level, like 5th or 6th.
It's a level 7 Bard Cleric spell.
Yeah, it wouldn't be wizard because it does help you with status and it's kind of like restoration, right?
No, it gives, I believe it's 120 temporary hit points that you can divide evenly up to among 6 creatures.
Oh, okay.
And going back a little bit to Halarsi's Storm of Radiance, it does thunder damage.
Oh, thunder, yeah.
2d8.
It's kind of odd using the word radiant and not radiant.
It does radiant and thunder.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but because
it does 2d10 radiant and 2d10 thunder.
That makes sense, of course.
One thing I do notice is that there are a lot more. I mean, I don't know much about the arcane magic from before, but a lot of the options for classes that I wouldn't relate with radiant damage. I mean, radiant, I think clerics, I think paladins.
Of course.
That's it. But like sorcerers, warlocks, wizards, they're getting more radiant options, I guess.
Yeah, I'm guessing following the metaphor of video games, it's kind of light and dark in some other things. I mean, and usually even in the lore of Dungeons and Dragons, we have the energy plane. So it's actually just grabbing energy out of the positive energy plane and tossing it to your enemy.
Speaking of which, the next spell is called Sorcerer's Burst.
I mean, that sounds offensive.
Sorcerer's Burst.
I'm guessing it's obviously a sorcerer wizard spell.
That's a cantrip for sorcerers.
And I'm guessing it will deal. It just deals damage as a burst, like and you can pick and choose your type, like acid, flame, and so forth. It's kind of sounds flexible.
Yeah, you would be correct. You deal 1d8 of a type of damage you pick from all those different types of lovely damage. The cool thing about this spell is if you roll an 8 on the die, you roll another die.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can do that maximum your ability modifier. So I think sorcerers use charisma?
Charisma, yes.
So if you have a 16 charisma, you could roll up to 3 die as a level 0 cantrip. 3 die.
Cool. That's
you have to be
cool.
real lucky, but that'd be cool.
I mean, you could probably also use re-rolls and so forth to manage this. So.
Mm-hmm. Next spell is called Starry Wisp. Starry Wisp.
Yes, in stars, right?
As in stars and as in wisps. I'll add the H in there for fun. Wisp.
The wisp. Starry
wisp. Cool whip. If you guys know where that's from, you can leave a comment below.
Or Edgar put the character that does that voice.
Cool whip.
Next to us.
Why are you saying whip?
Whip. Yeah. Starry whip. Well, following the metaphor of the other radiant spell you showed me, the Font of Moonlight, I believe was called.
Font of Moonlight.
It seems like another version of that. So it will probably give you a sort of aura that gives you some benefits and so forth. More arcane-ish thing for bards specifically.
You hit the class. It is a bard druid cantrip where you do 1d8 radiant damage and a blast, and if you hit the target, it cannot go invisible, and it emanates light up to 10 feet for 1 turn.
That's cool.
Something I don't think I mentioned about Font of Moonlight, which I thought it was kind of cool. It kind of works like I just forgot the name of the cleric spell, Guiding Bolt, where if you hit the enemy, they light up and they give advantage.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In the Font of Moonlight, they also give advantage, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's cool.
We've got 2 spells left, and now I'm going to say a name, but don't get confused on who I'm talking about. This is Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron.
Yeah, Edgar, please put the Tasha I'm thinking of right here. If you had kids, you know Backyardigans, and I'm thinking of Tasha from Backyardigans.
So we have Tasha's bubbling cauldron.
Oh, that one was in the preview, so I already know what it does. It makes potions. It's a potion maker.
It was in the previous?
Yeah, they mentioned it quite a bit.
Oh, no.
So I remember it really well. Yeah, it makes it. It's a 6th-level spell, if I'm not mistaken, and you
Yes.
generate potions or any other liquid. You could generate things like alchemical fluids and so
Any
forth.
common or uncommon liquid.
Yeah.
Now, I wrote this down as a new spell. I wonder why I'm confused. Is this one of those new, not new spells from?
No, it's new. It's new. It's new, but they mentioned it in the preview videos.
Oh,
They
I
really
wasn't-
mentioned it. They gave it a lot of emphasis.
I
Yeah.
wasn't really paying attention to the spell video. Sorry.
That's cool.
And the last one we have, I'm going to say this bad again. Yolande,
It's probably like Yolanda, right?
Yolanda's regal presence. I think they did mention this one a lot too.
Oh, this one I forgot. But if I'm not mistaken, it should be something like an aura that gives you bonuses to charisma checks and so forth. Things like that. Social checks.
No, this is actually a pretty badass aura for bards and wizards. It is 10 feet, a 10-foot emanation.
Yes.
And any creature that enters takes psychic damage, knocked prone, and get pushed back 10 feet.
Oh,
So it's
that's
like,
cool.
get out of my space.
Also, that's the safe space. Or the
It's a safe space for
it's
wizards.
a real safe space for wizards, yeah.
Boom. Now, those were the new spells that I wrote down. If I missed anything, let me know. And there were some of the things that I noticed that were more of the notable changes to some spells. I don't know if we could play a game out of this, but I can mention a spell and you can tell me what sucked about the spell before.
No, just
Or I
tell
can
us.
just tell us. Okay.
Yeah.
True Strike. Remember True Strike?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, of course.
True Strike was a stupid spell where you would have to waste an action
Then
to get up
to attack later.
20 on the second one.
Yeah.
Now, when you cast it, you attack while you cast it. It's like one of those mixed.
Oh,
I'm casting a spell and attacking you at the same time.
It's a mixed bonus. Oh, that makes more sense.
So that makes it a little more useful. The sleep spell is now a wisdom save instead of just using like a hit point pool. Now, the thing that kind of sucks, besides it being a save, is that the enemy or target actually has 2 turns in a way to avoid falling asleep. The first turn, if it fails, it's incapacitated.
And then it falls.
And then in the second turn, if it fails again, it falls asleep.
But it's still a cantrip, right?
No, spells.
It's a first level?
Sleep is, it's a
Sorry, first level, yeah.
It's a first level spell. They nerf the range and the area of effect. So it's no longer, I think, like 90 feet away and 20-foot radius. It's 60 feet and I think a 15-foot radius for the
Yeah.
spell. The conjure spells were really reworked. They're more like, I'll call them variants of spiritual weapon, the cleric spell.
Oh, you kind of generate an energy thing, right?
Yeah, it's you're not really conjuring animals or spirits or something. It's like an area of effect spell with different spells depending on which version of the conjuring you use, which is kind of cool, I guess. Ray of Enfeeblement, they changed that up too. Now it's a con save, and regardless of whether you make the save or not, you will get disadvantage on your next attack if you are hit by a Ray of Enfeeblement, which is pretty powerful. The polymorph changed. I think they mentioned that too a bit in the
It changes because of the way temporary hit points change.
Yeah, which I don't. I mean, I'm not a really big druid user, but I know my one friend that does like playing them. He wasn't too happy about.
It seems more straightforward the way it works, but it's a little less powerful.
Yeah, and this is a one that everybody loves out there. Counterspell.
Counterspell was really improved, and it makes sense from what I've heard.
Counterspell is, for what I wrote down in my notes, rather than an ability check against your spellcasting ability, the target has to beat a Constitution saving throw to avoid the spell being dissipated for being being lost. The cool thing, I guess, or something that pissed off a lot of people, is that they don't lose the spell slot. Like if I'm casting a spell and you counterspell me, or if I'm using a smite as a spell and you're counterspelling me, and you succeed in interrupting, I don't lose the spell slot. I can cast again.
That sucks. Sorry about that.
Does it suck though?
Yes, because you're losing a spell lot and you don't eliminate. It's just a tempo play.
Well, see now, I think we're looking at this differently, because if I were a malicious DM, which I'm not. That's yeah. And I have something that can counterspell you. Wouldn't you be pissed off if you lost your spell slot? Or
Yeah,
would
of
you be
course.
happy if you saved it?
No, of course I'd be pissed. Yeah, yeah, and then you could have like, for instance, a bunch of low level acolytes that are just countering spells,
Counter.
and the main bad guy is launching offensive spells. Which I mean, it seems like a really cool scenario to have. Like you have them hidden like in a small, and they have like a small slit where they launch the counter spells, and you're like.
Now, my biggest
Gripe
or peeve or issue with the spell changes is actually with none of these. It's with the healing spell.
Oh yeah, it got really OP, right? From what I've read as well.
I think they're breaking healing because they are cure wounds does 2d8 per level. You cast out a level 2, it's 4d8. You cast a level 3, it's 6d8, so on and so forth. Healing word as well. Healing word's a bonus action, and you're doing 2d4 plus. And if you're life domain, you get extra on top of that, which is really cool. But what worries me, again, as a dungeon master, from the player's perspective, that's awesome because you're going to keep everybody alive and healthy.
But
the
bad guys could also be kept alive.
The bad guys can also use it.
Well, I mean, saying bad is also
The
it's relative.
adversaries,
The
blah,
adversary, the enemies, yes.
blah, blah. The things you're going to try and kill can use it too.
You can also talk to them, Eugene. You don't have to kill everybody.
Well, if you're talking, then you're not going to be using healing spells, are you?
Well, maybe as a sort
Checkmate. No, okay. But like, as a DM, then I'm really curious now to see what they're going to do with the monster manual and what changes they're going to do to the monsters. Not only for healing, not only for weapon specialization or weapon abilities, whatever you call them, but like their hit point pool and the amount of damage that they do, they have to adjust all that.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I would imagine they're going to adjust all that. Maybe they don't. They leave everything the same. In which case, I'm upping my CR factor by at least 1 or 2 levels.
We'll have to see how it works, but yeah, of course, that makes total sense. And you can change your scenarios. Maybe there are abilities that prevent healing for like a turn or two. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Like a sort of necrotic beast that hits you and you lose you cannot be healed in at least 2 turns.
Or
Or if not, we could make it up for our games. Yeah.
Or a necromantic emanation
Yeah, of sorts. Yeah.
that reverses healing. When you actually heal somebody, you hurt them.
Oh,
Ooh.
that makes sense.
Can you imagine turning around and going to heal your fighter 2d8 just to realize you hit him for 2d8 damage?
Oh, that's fun.
That'd be nice. Oh, I got to write that down.
Yeah, that's a good concept for a monster. Yeah.
Anyway, is there any spells that we missed? Is there anything that you would add to this rant? Are you okay with the new healing or not? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the main thing that we're questioning ourselves, how upping the ante on healing, because the gameplay is going to be
It's not
different.
just cure wounds. It's cure wounds. It's healing word.
It's all of them, yeah, of course.
It's mass. Actually, I don't know if it was a typo or not, but the mass healing word, I think, was only like 2 die and then 1 die for. Because like healing word, I'm rambling on a little bit. Sorry, healing word. There's a bonus action. It's 2 die 4 plus ability plus whatever, and then if you up it a level, it goes to 4 die 4. But mass healing word is 2 die 4 for up to 6 characters, and if you up it a level, it's only 1 die 4 more. I don't know if that's a typo or if that's actually by design.
It's probably by design because it's mass. They usually did that with mass.
Sure. Anyway, yeah, okay. Anyway, leave us your observations, comments, complaints, and stuff about spells, healing, anything we may have missed.
I don't know. I'll be reading more and telling you later.
Yeah, we could do another more in depth when we actually get to use them in situations with the players and stuff.
We'll use them more, yeah.
Yeah. So,
All right.
anyway.
Cheers. So that's the end of the video. If you haven't already, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And please feel free to leave us your comments, suggestions, and questions below.
Yeah. Also, come follow us on our other social media like Instagram and TikTok, and join us on our Discord channel on the ND Hobby server. Links in the description below.
And as always, remember to Rage responsibly. We'll see you in the next episode.
Roll the dice!